Hello everyone, my name is Fahim. I'm a research scholar in the field of additive manufacturing and 3D printing. Today we are going to discuss about the slicing process of an STL file in a software called as Flashprint by Flashforge. This software is particularly used once we are 3D printing any part in the process called as fuse deposition modeling or FDM. You can download the software from a website that is called as flashforge.com. This is the interface of the software, and this box-like structure represents the build volume of a particular machine or of a particular 3D printer. You can select or change the machine type on the left-hand side bottom corner here. So you can see that there are a number of options available. All these machines are from Flashforge, so you can select any kind of machine from this set of list. In our lab, there are particularly two types of printers available. One is called as Creator 3 Pro, and another one we are having is Guider 2nd S series. So you can select any one of them. At this time, we are selecting Guider 2nd S series. We can also change the nozzle size from here, but you should remember that nozzle size can only be changed manually. That is, we have to manually replace the nozzle firstly, and then it can be changed from 0.4 to 0.2 or 0.6. Whatever size you want, you can change it, but do it manually first. Now the first step of slicing is to import an STL or .stl file on this platform or bed of the machine. For this purpose, we will go to this file option, then click on this load file, and click on the STL file that is available in your machine. Right now I'm selecting one of the STL files that is available on my desktop. So this is an STL file which I have imported on the platform. Now there are a number of options available on the right hand side interface. You can see the first option that is available on the interface, that is called as view. You can view this part in any of the direction. You can see the top view, you can see the bottom view, you can see the left view. So whatever view you want to see, you can just click on it and you can view. Now the second option that is available here is the move option. It's a very important option available here. You can move the part anywhere in positive x direction, or you can even move it in the negative direction x direction. Similarly, in the positive y direction or in the negative y direction. Similarly, you can move it in positive z direction upwards, or you can move it even in the negative z direction, that means that is downwards. But you have to remember that we cannot move the part either in the positive z direction or in the negative z direction. That is, it cannot be moved upwards or downwards. It is always to be placed on the surface of the platform, because the part cannot be completed below the surface of the platform or above the surface of the platform, because the material is always in the molten state before it is printed or the layers are deposited. So for that purpose, once you are importing a part on the surface of this platform, you have to always make sure that you always press this option that is called as on platform. It makes sure that the part is always made on the surface of the platform. Second option is that if the values of x or y are not 0, that means the part is made anywhere on the bed. You can still make the part, but you have to remember that most of the 3D printers, their optimized location or their position where they start is at the center. So for that purpose, in order to have the lesser build time, for that purpose you will always have to press this option that is called as center. So this makes sure that the part is placed on the surface of the platform and the part is started at the center. Now the second option that is available is called as rotation or the orientation of the part. Here we can rotate this part on any direction, on x-axis, on y-axis, or on the z-axis. For example, if I rotate this part by 90 degrees on x-axis, or I can rotate it by 180 degrees on x-axis, you can see that by orienting this part in this direction, you can see that once this small cylinder is completed, now this bigger cylinder is having some overhanging part. That means there is no support on this bigger cylinder, that the part which is overhanging. Once this material is deposited, the material will directly go down and it will not be placed in the same place because there is no support available below this part, overhanging part. So if we do not place any support here, the part cannot be completed, it will be damaged. If you still want to make this part in this orientation only, then you have to make sure that you place some kind of supports here so that the part will be completed. For that purpose, we have an option that is called as supports. You will click on this option and you can select any of the support types. We have two options, that is, one is called as tree support, another one is called as this linear support. You can either select a tree support or a linear support. Then you have to click on this auto supports. We can place the supports manually also, but in order to make sure that the supports are placed evenly at every place, we can choose this option that is called as auto supports, so that the supports are placed evenly below this overhanging part. So once you have placed the supports, now this part can be completed easily. But by placing the supports, we have three major disadvantages. One of them is that this support material is an extra material, that is, it is a wastage of material, because once the part is completed, you have to remove these support structures. So it means that it's a wastage of material. Second thing, this support material deposition also takes time, so the time of overall build time of the part increases. This is the second disadvantage. And the third disadvantage is that wherever these supports are placed, it makes the surface, or it damages the surface of the part, it makes it rough. So it is the third disadvantage. So for this purpose, we should always try to orient the part in such a direction that either the supports are not needed, or in case you still need some supports, then the part should be oriented in such a direction that the minimum number of supports are to be used. So I will see if I can make this part in any other rotation where the supports are not needed or minimum number of supports are needed. So if I orient this part again on 180 degree on x-axis, you can see that now the bigger cylinder is placed downwards and the smaller cylinder is upwards. In this direction, you can see that there is no requirement of any kind of support. It can be made without supports because there is no overhanging part, so it can be easily made without supports. So this is a very important option that is called as orientation or rotation. You have to always orient a part in such a direction that either the support structure is not required or minimum number of support structures are required. Now the third option that is available here, that is called as scaling. That means you can scale up this part, or you can scale up or scale down this part according to your need. For example, if I have already made the CAD model and I want to change the diameter of this part by 5 mm, so I can just click here and press 30, press enter. The diameter of this part will be increased, but you will see if this uniform scaling option is checked, you can see that the part will be increased in x direction by 20%, and it will be increased by the same percentage in y and z direction also. So if it is increased by 20% in x, it will be increased by 20 in y and increased by 20 in z. In order to have non-uniform scaling, or if you want to just increase or decrease in only one direction, for example, if I want to decrease in x direction only by 5 mm, I will just click here, press 25 and enter. You will see that it is decreased in z direction only. To go back, press Ctrl Z. Now we have another option that is called as cut section. You can cut this part in any of the planes. You can cut it on XY plane, you can cut it on YZ plane, or you can cut it on ZX plane. So if I want to cut this part in the center, you can just place your this red mark here and start cut. The part will be cut in two halves. So you can just now move one of the part here and move one part here. You can either delete one part, make only one part, whatever you want, you can just create it. For going back, you can press Ctrl Z. Then there is one more important option that is called as duplicate. If you want to create a number of copies of this similar product, you just press this option that is duplicate. For example, if I want 2 more copies of this, I'll press 2 and OK. Now you can see that there are 2 similar copies of the same product. But you should ensure that once you have multiple parts on the platform, either they are similar or they are dissimilar, you have to ensure that these are centrally placed, located at the center, and the distance between them is minimum. For that purpose, you can select them all, and there is an option available that is called as auto layout all. There is, you can see that there is a space between the models is 2 mm, that is there should be at least minimum space of 2 mm so that the parts do not stick with each other. Press OK, and then these parts are centrally located and the distance between them is minimum 2 mm. Then we have this option that is called as support structures, which I have already discussed that the support structure is needed in case we have an overhanging part. For example, if I orient one of these parts by 180 degrees, then press on support structure, you can see that once I press on this auto support, the supports are created only on the part where the supports are needed. You can see that these two parts do not need support because they are in the right direction, and this part where the small cylinder in the downwards, it needs support structures. So this will be made with supports, and these will be made without supports. So these are some of the options that are available on the interface. You can choose any of these settings according to your desired conditions. Now in the next video, we are going to learn about the important slicing parameters that are available in this software. For that purpose, you will select this start slicing option, and then we can see there are a number of slicing parameters available which we are going to complete in the next session.